Okay, I'd like to call the city work session of the city of Cherryville to order at this time. I'd like to ask for approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next thing is consideration of the budget amendment for our budget. So the city manager, Brian Dalt, will lead us through this.
Council, you can see there that this budget amendment is primarily donations. And the biggest donation was a recent donation from Mr. Patrick O'Leary to put in a new sidewalk there on First and Mountain Street. But you can see that the donations total, what is the total there, Dixie? 41, 45,
51,
about $45,000, $46,000. And it's obviously, you know, the revenues and the expenditures have to equal. So that's why you got the revenues up at top and the expenditures at the bottom. And some of it is police donations. You know, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's $300. So that could be anything from people just come in and say, hey, here's $100 to buy the officers something to eat tonight or whatever. But that's the only budget amendment we have, and we just needed to get this done before year end.
Okay.
What about the recreation? What's that consist of?
That was for the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
O'Leary gave
Fireworks.
Fireworks.
Thank you much, okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions about these amendments? If not, do I hear a motion that we accept the amendments as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next thing is discussion of the code of ordinance regarding public nuisance. Planning and zoning director Richard Elam will bring us through this one.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just here tonight in case you have any questions. I sent a letter about a house that had caught fire in January, and it was brought to my attention nothing had been done, so I sent a letter to the owner, and she is appealing that letter. And so I gave it to the city manager. The minute the city manager set the public hearing, not public hearing, set the hearing date in July. That's when city council will make a decision. It had to be heard within 31 days of her appeal. And I think y'all been sent some information on it, and just want to make sure we can go through with it because it is a safety hazard. If the fire chief and the chief of police were here tonight, I think they would agree with me. But I'm just here if you got any questions before then. You can email me or call me.
That's the house across from the old Dora office building.
That's correct.
Yes.
I think
Why
it
is
was-
she appealing it? I mean, it's burned.
She advised she has not heard anything from her insurance company since January. And I can't speak for her, but that's what I was told to me. But the 31 days gives her time to get an attorney if she needs an attorney or whatever she needs to do. But I want to move forward. I can get the county also. I don't think they'll be needed, but our fire chief can condemn it. Or I can get someone from the county to condemn it. But if you are familiar with it and ride by and look at it, you would see that it is a safety hazard.
It definitely.
Yeah, every time I go by there, I look at it. Okay.
So it'll be on our agenda for the 8th,
It will, sir.
and is that when we'll hear her appeal? Is that what, or?
Will she be here?
That's when it's scheduled.
Okay.
It's on the schedule. She knows she's supposed to be here.
And that's the requirement by our ordinance, is that we have to set up an appeal for her in front of you within 30 days.
If she's not here, we can still take action, right? Because she's, okay.
What action could we take?
You have to consider the evidence.
Sir.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
So
can't,
what action could we take?
nothing tonight.
I'm talking
Correct,
about
correct.
on the 8th.
On the 8th, if they don't.
I'll send you copies of the city ordinance that states what y'all should do and in the order you should do it.
Okay.
Ultimately, though, would we burn it or tear it down or?
I Yeah, you know, you condemn it and then we make arrangements for it to be taken down. We'd have to put out a bid and get the lowest bid to take it down.
And that would be at her expense, correct? The owner's
But
expense?
she would be sent the bill,
Yeah, okay.
but hopefully between now and then she can get her insurance company to do something to
Mhm.
save us all the trouble.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on top of it, man.
I know, the pictures were
Appreciate you.
horrible.
Do you know if
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
inhabited before the fire?
I know that
It was.
it was
Yeah.
bought in January. I mean, bought in December and the fire was in January. That's all I know. I don't know if it was occupied at the time or not.
Okay.
I
All right,
don't know either, I don't know.
it'll be on, Yancy, we're okay with what's going down.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sounds good. Does anyone have any other business that we need to?
Well, I don't
discuss?
really have any business, but I just want to give a positive report about our historical museum. I know that we've heard enough negative things about our museum, but I just want to report what happened there on Saturday. Pete called me as a liaison and asked if I could spare a couple hours. Could I maybe come to the museum? He had gotten notice from a group from First Baptist Church in Mount Holly that they wanted to come up and tour our museum. And then I think they were going to have lunch, and then they were going to tour the truck museum. So anyway, I said, well, I'll be glad to come up there. So they got there. It was a really nice group from Mount Holly. And Pete, well, let me back up one day. Several of the board of directors had gone up there the day before or 2 days before and went upstairs and did a lot of house cleaning and rearranging things upstairs that weren't very, very nice looking. But anyway, they did a really good job in a short period of time. So Petey addressed our visitors and gave them a little bit of background about the building and the museum. And then he turned it, and we did have one volunteer show up, Sid Strapp. And all the board of directors showed up except one. We had one that couldn't make it, but all the other board of directors showed up, and myself. I'm not on the board, but. And then Pete turned it over to Sid, and Sid was kind of their tour guide. And I'll tell you one thing, he did a fantastic job. Sid Strapp did a wonderful job taking them through the museum and explaining a lot of the history. The first thing he told them, which I said, well, Sid, maybe you could have left that out, was way back years ago. He said, Cherryville was known for drinking on Main Street. He said everybody went home and made their own liquor and they brought it to Main Street. And there was a bar on every corner. I said, well, Sid, did you have to tell them all that? He said, well, it's the truth. And if everybody knows our history, that is the truth. That really is the truth. We didn't have a very good reputation, I guess, back in the early 1900s. But anyway.
Well, we're known for that again. Now we got the best liquor store around.
Without the city seal.
Well, it's legal now.
Good point.
Okay, all right. But anyway, they were so appreciative of our museum. And I sat back with a group of them that were sitting there watching the New Year's Shooters video. And this one lady come up to me and said, I don't understand. I just don't understand why there's not as many people hurt during this time. I said, well, no, there's not. I said, I only know of one person that really got hurt. My husband told me years and years ago, one New Year's shooter. Of course, he had the musket loaded with too much powder.
Surely not.
And said when he took his glove off, he said these two fingers were missing.
Oh, God.
I said, I only know of one, but there may have been more, but I only know of one. But I did want to share that. They were so appreciative. And I think our board of directors are going to do a fantastic job. I really and truly do. And it's just better days ahead for the museum. That's what I can see. Better days ahead. I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Yeah, I was up there walking my dog Saturday, and I saw their bus,
Uh-huh.
and I saw everybody in there, but I was sweating awful. And so I said, I'm not going in there with this dog and me sweating. So I just kept on going.
Yeah.
But there was a good crowd of them. It was
But they
good
were,
to see.
they were just delighted with our museum, and they have one of their own. I understand. I've never been to the Mount Holly Museum. I don't know anything about theirs, but they were very, very complimentary of our museum.
Okay, maybe they will, open it when we have the tournament here.
Oh,
We used to have,
absolutely,
so
absolutely.
Get some
I
people
hope so.
interested,
I hope
place
so.
to go.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have anything?
Well, while we're on that subject, do we need to get a lease agreement in place with the new board? Or,
We probably do.
okay, so maybe we need to put that on
Yeah.
an
We
agenda,
probably do need
discuss
to
that at some time.
Set up an official lease agreement.
Yeah, because if we don't,
Mm-hmm.
we get into those.
Yeah, I think they're all working so well together
They are.
and trying to make it a positive
They
place
sure
to be.
they are working very well, and Pete's doing a great job trying to keep everything positive.
That's good.
That sounds good. Anyone else have anything? You want to give an update, Brian, on the splash pad?
Well, I talked to Quentin yesterday, the primary individual responsible for building the splash pad. He is hoping to have it open by July 4th, or we can open it by the 4th. So, fingers crossed. There was just a couple small pieces that didn't get sent. Most of the material come from Canada, so they're having to get some fittings shipped down here from Canada to finish putting up a couple of the little baseballs that dump water. So hopefully if those come in the next day or two, he said he's hoping we can have it open by the 4th. The fence is up, so you know we have the fence in between the pools, so everything's good there. So fingers crossed everything gets completed and we can have it open next week.
Brian, I did have one of the supervisors down at the Y, Debbie. She shares some things with me at lunch that she said there is so many false rumors going around about the splash pad. She said, please tell Brian and the city to tell it exactly like it is. The hours and the fees, no fees, please, let's
Free.
get it out there straight.
And we've told that several times about the fees. Now, ours, we've not, a lot of that, we're waiting to see really what the Y wants to do as well. Do they want to be involved with the splash pad, or would they rather not be involved at all with the splash pad? So, after that, we'll make a decision as far as hours. But now, days, we're going to try to obviously be open more than 3 days a week.
Yes.
The pool is only open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The splash pad will have to be open more days than that. But you don't have to have lifeguards. You just have to have somebody there. And we've had some interest from some other organizations about possibly partnering with the city to run the concession stand and be there, say, for the splash pad. So
Good.
we're waiting to see if some of that pans out.
Does the Y know we're waiting on them to make
Well,
a decision?
There's been conversation, some
Okay.
conversation.
Okay, all right.
And it is free, no charge for the
The
splash pad.
splash pad is free. Now, I will say, the one thing that Josie said they're gonna try to work out is, like, say if it's a day that the splash pad's open, pool's open, they're gonna have wristbands. You know, the wristband shows that, hey, they can go to the pool because they've got a wristband. If they don't have a wristband, they're splash pad.
Couple questions I've heard. Is there gonna be shade areas for parents to stand in?
Well, that's something we were talking about yesterday. You know, we have the 4 shades on the corners.
Thought I saw that.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as being able to stay out of the water completely, no, there's not any right now. So what we're looking at is hopefully, after everything's said and done and we can get the splash pad open, maybe this fall we look at possibly, what I would really like to do is, if you know where the playground area is, they got a little grassy area between there and the splash pad. I would like to do something there to put some more shades where that could be an area for parents
Okay.
if they want somewhere to see it instead of getting right up in the water,
Yeah.
I guess you could say. And then we've also looked at, you know, the baby pool hasn't been in operation in, I can't tell you how long. I mean, I'm a guess over 10 years. So what I would really like to do is take that fence down, fill that little area in, and just cement over that and make that a sitting area as well. And that's beside the pool there.
Yeah.
And when's the ribbon cutting?
Well, that's what we're gonna wait and see. What we're gonna look at doing is trying to get it open first.
And
Okay.
then have a grand.
And then we're gonna have a grand opening, and I'm trying to coordinate that with Emily Winter with Piedmont Lithium, of course, because, you know, their funds is what's paid for this. So she's gonna try to get her people from Piedmont Lithium up here as far as coming to the ribbon cutting as well.
Okay.
And we're all gonna wear bathing suits and run through it, Janice.
No, no, no.
We'd like to have a crowd, but I don't know if they're gonna come.
But
After
yeah,
that.
the primary thing right now on my mind
They'd
is to
run
get it
away.
open, so we can get some use out of it for the
Yeah,
next few
that's
months.
good. And I'm glad it's gonna be getting there. I just got back from convention in Raleigh, and they are all very excited and anticipated coming to Cherryville and really talking it up to be here for the tournament. We've got our fingers and legs crossed and everything else that they're gonna get that finished, but they poured more cement over there today. It's like it's being done in sections, and
I think it'll get finished, cause
I
now
think
that
it
the
will.
cement, it looks like the cement's probably finished now, they'll
Right.
come in one day probably and do the asphalt.
hopefully they're still working right now. And they worked late yesterday, even when we was getting the ball game started, but they're trying. It's gonna look nice, and, a lot of people planning to be here, so we should have a good tournament here this week with the parade and the, oh my gosh,
The
we're looking
band.
forward to the Band of Oz, and they can't believe we're having all of this because they've never done this at other tournaments, and so there's plenty planning on being here. The parade will be awesome, and, we're working on a few other things to be in that parade right now, and I'll get with Jerry on some more things, but it's a big deal, what we have going on. And, concession stand will be open, we'll have things moved out, we've got souvenirs, and we're getting bags ready to give to about 180 plus kids, and there maybe be some more when we, meet with them on Friday night after the parade. And then we have the, home run derby. So look forward to seeing everyone come out and supporting it. Anything else we have? If not,
I will
we
let
got
you
one
know,
more thing, Steve.
one more thing, just to give you an update on the gym. The gym's moving pretty good. The plumbers started, this week. They should be wrapping up, and Keith Gardo told me that they're hoping to probably pour a pad next week sometime. Once he gets that pad poured, he said the building will be up in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, that's great.
So,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.